Let's bring in the GOP congresswoman who really stood out when this probe was really kicking in, Elise Stefanik, member of the House Select Intelligence Committee, over here also representing New York. Congresswoman, thanks so much for joining us. We want to talk about your district and what's going on in New York and how Governor Cuomo might be getting a pass. But sadly, I have to talk about impeachment. Do you think they're doing this just to get the grand jury testimony and that's their best reason? Or do you actually think that they want to give the president another 10 points in his approval rating and do this again?
They have been obsessed with impeachment after President Trump overwhelmingly won the election. And I've seen this firsthand sitting on the House Intelligence Committee. Adam Schiff has continued to put out misinformation and, frankly, lies to the American people. We saw this with the Mueller testimony as well, that when Mueller came in front of the House Intel, their case for impeachment just crumbled. This shows how weak Joe Biden is, I think, as a presidential candidate, because they can't run on their record. And what's so concerning to me is we are in the middle of coming out of a once-in-100-years pandemic. We have so many important issues in terms of rebuilding the economy, and this is what House Democrats want to focus on. It's inexcusable, it's embarrassing, and I think it's a real opportunity for Republicans to take back the majority, which is why I think you saw that important pickup in California in that special election. So it's disappointing. Certainly, there's been no outreach to Republicans on the House Intelligence Committee on what their plans are. But this is more of the same. It's political. It's impeachment at all costs. And the people who suffer because of this are the American people.
Do you think the American people, the American voter, will get tired of this and just see that they're trying to find anything on this president because they don't like his politics? How's that going to affect the election? And what about in blue states where you have these governors that are saying the whole state is closed? People in rural counties that have maybe no cases of COVID are furious because they want to open up their businesses. Is that going to backfire on some of those blue states?
You know, I think it is, and we see this dynamic playing out in New York State. I represent New York's 21st district, which is the most rural part of the region. We have manufacturers, farmers, small businesses who have really suffered under this one-size-fits-all approach. What I've advocated is a much more regional approach. We've started the process of reopening, but our small businesses, our manufacturers, they have innovative, creative solutions about how we can safely get back to work. But our governors need to understand that people need to be able to pursue their livelihood, and they have great ideas about how to do it. They just need to hear our input. And to tie it back to impeachment, the American people are smart. They want to focus on the issues that matter, ensuring that we have a plan to safely get our kids back to school this fall, ensuring that we're allowing our small businesses to reopen safely and gradually. That's really important, and I hear that's what's on voters' minds in my district.
Well, maybe it's the Democrats' strategy to be able to say, the closer we get to November, you know, if we controlled the Senate, we would have been able to impeach him the first time. So let's see if that is part of their game plan. Meanwhile, let's talk a little bit about an investigation you are calling for, Congresswoman, regarding nursing homes in the Empire State of New York, because the governor has essentially changed the way COVID deaths are being reported. We've got a soundbite, though, first to listen to. Here's the governor talking about how nursing homes are a top priority for him after saying that older people were going to die. Watch.
Who can we prosecute for those deaths? Nobody. Older people, vulnerable people are going to die from this virus. And that is a fact. And that is not going to change.
We now have a top priority, which we have from day one, which is our nursing homes. I understand we have the most aggressive standard in the nation. But I also know that it is necessary.
So there he said initially older people were going to die, and then he's talking about his top priority being to protect those people. You're calling for an investigation. Explain why.
Because New York has mismanaged how we have approached and how we've protected our seniors in our nursing homes. We knew going into this that our most vulnerable are our seniors, and particularly in those assisted living facilities, whether they're senior living facilities or nursing homes. New York, when compared to other states, took a number of negative actions that cost over 5,000 lives. The governor took executive action forcing positive COVID cases back into nursing homes. There was zero transparency in terms of informing the seniors, the workers, or the family members whether there were positive cases. They also didn't fully tell the public how many seniors' deaths there were coming from nursing homes. So that reporting data, they didn't count the hospital deaths when there was a positive case that was transmitted because of the senior nursing home. We took the opposite approach in my district, and I have to applaud the county public health officials. In our first case of a senior assisted living facility, the county public health office, this was not taking guidance from New York State. They did this on their own. They put out the information in a transparent way to ensure that other seniors and families in that assisted living facility were notified of that immediately. So I believe that these families owe answers. We cannot dismiss their concerns. I've heard from families who are still grieving for loss of their loved ones, and they deserve answers. And it's not just Republicans who are calling for this independent investigation. It's Democrats as well. It cannot be conducted by New York's Attorney General either. It needs to be an independent investigation. I'm calling for the Department of HHS to conduct this independent investigation, but I think it needs to come from the federal government.
New Jersey numbers were really high, too, with seniors as well. Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, thank you so much for joining us from your kitchen. It seems like your kitchen.
Thank you.
Seems nice.
Yes.
All right, upstate New York.